All right, so I'm doing this as a little live video mainly because I'm too lazy to edit one together. So I'm just doing it as a live thing, and you guys can play it back at your heart's content. So first of all, welcome and thank you for checking this out. It's midnight, 12:32 p.m. specifically, and I just finished putting together the IKEA Bjursta circular expandable table. Now, I wanted to get a new dining room table because I had one that seated 6 people, and I've only had 6 people in my last 2 apartments maybe twice. So it was just really big, and I wanted a table that was going to open up the feel of the room a little bit. So I decided to go with the Bjursta because of its ability to lengthen and shorten as needed. And I have just a nice small table for my everyday needs. So I noticed there wasn't anything on YouTube that talked about the assembly process, and I did not film that because you can find what the hell's the word I'm thinking of, like high speed assemblies of people putting it together. That's not that interesting. I just put it together myself. But what I'm going to do is kind of go through the table and show you how it kind of goes together, because it really is easy to put together. The hardest thing for me was actually writing the table once I had put it all together and it was face down with the legs up. Actually flipping it over onto its normal orientation was actually the most difficult thing for me. But once I did that, all is well. So let me show you the Bjursta table. And I went with the Expandable chairs. So I'll show you those two. So let's flip the camera around. Here you go. Okay, so here's the table. And there's my Expandable chairs. And I got the blue seat covers because I like blue. So here is the table. And this is one of the only IKEA pieces I've ever seen that actually comes partially assembled. So you're going to do a good bit of assembly, but you're not actually building every single piece. So I'll start with these two tabletops come as they come as separate pieces. So they come in one of the boxes. Basically this half and this half right here. And then the leaf that's in the middle of the table is actually kind of a big square right under here, and I'll show you that in just a minute. That is actually in its own box as well, and that's kind of what holds the table together. And the two halves are actually screwed into the leaf assembly. 3 screws about here, there, and so forth. So there's not 12 screws holding the table to the leaf assembly. So I'm going to go down underneath the table and show you that from below. Let me see if, okay, that's just never mind. I wanted to see if I could turn the flash on. Oh yeah, enable flash. Here we go. All right, cool. So let's go under the table, and I'm going to show you how the actual assembly looks down here. So the legs actually have these little, you screw these things on, then you put the washer and the nut and all that stuff, and they give you a tool to actually tighten those. So that's one of the last steps. But you can see here's where the two halves meet, and there's this nifty little locking system that's actually pretty cool. When the table is either closed or open, you basically lock the leaves together. So you lock the two sides together so that they don't it doesn't come apart easily, or when you pull the table, the whole thing moves. So and then here is actually I'll try to zoom out here. Here is the whole center assembly for the leaf, and I'll show you how that operates in just a second. But it kind of neatly stows underneath here. This entire assembly is its own thing. So basically the 3 big assemblies you're getting this middle part in its own box, and then these 2 leaves and the legs in the other box, and then all the hardware and everything. So you're not building this frame and then building this and building this. It's not like a typical IKEA piece. You're essentially just putting pre-assembled pieces together. So it was really easy to build. I think it took me about, I don't know, maybe a little over an hour. Hold on, okay. Sorry, I'm in a weird angle because it's telling me my orientation's locked. So it took me about an hour to put the whole thing together by myself. With somebody else, probably would take half that. But let me show you how the table opens now. So I'm going to go back up top, Let's turn off the flash. Okay, so give me 1 second. All right, let's get up. Oh, I got to cut those tags off the chairs. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is unlock the table. I already showed you where the locks are, so I'm just going to flip it from up here. Okay. There we go. All right, so now I'm just going to pull the table apart. And one thing I highly recommend, by the way, is when you get one of these tables, somewhere in the magical world of IKEA, you can get these little pads to put on underneath. Put those on there so they don't scratch your floor, because you're going to be sliding the table all around. So, okay, so let's just pull this a little more. There we go. Okay, so there's one of the, so this is the leaf right here, and it's kind of folded in half. One side is spring-loaded, and then the other side is I think it's permanently, no, it's not spring-loaded, but anyway, this is folded in half, and I'm just going to pull this up, and this whole assembly basically just articulates out. All right, and then, so you have to fold this one down. Okay, and now I'm just going to push the table into itself. And now it seats 6. And that same locking system, now I can lock the leaf in place. Now, I'm not going to go and do it on all of them, but I can, those little gray switches, I can lock all 4 leaves things in place. So now the table is fully assembled, fully extended. And then putting it back is exactly the same. I just unlocked it, and now I'm going to pull the table apart. I forgot to do that. And then this one is just spring loaded, so that is going to just, we're going to hold that down when we fold it back, but I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to just, whoops, I did not mean to do that. Okay, so now that has to get snapped into place so it'll stay there. And then here's the locking pins that I used before. So now I'm just going to close the table up. And that's it. So now I'll just lock it back, because I'm going to leave it in its smaller configuration. And that is the Bjursta. So thank you for checking it out. And feel free to send me an email if you have any questions, and I will do my best to answer them. And that's it. So have a wonderful evening.